This is American Thought Leaders, and I'm Yanya Kellick. Right now, I'm sitting down with Cliff Maloney, President of Young Americans for Liberty. Cliff, it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. So, tell me, how many times have you been to this rodeo?
CPAC, probably this is my fifth CPAC. Our organization, Young Americans for Liberty, we used to actually play a pretty significant role in the straw poll.
Okay.
So we used to be here back during a lot of the presidential runs, supporting Ron Paul and then Rand Paul. So we would really get a lot of folks out, and now we're back enjoying it and recruiting and trying to get as many students as we can get involved. But it's interesting to kind of see how it's evolved over the years and just kind of what the crowd's interested in and what the national topics are of the day.
Fantastic. So, Young Americans for Liberty. Tell me a little bit about what you do and maybe what distinguishes you from some of the other youth organizations out there.
So I think there's plenty of great organizations on campus, conservative and liberty-minded, libertarian type organizations on the right. And a lot of them are working to do a lot of similar things. They're trying to bring people back from the brink of socialism, trying to promote capitalism, free markets, lower taxes, civil liberties. And we partner with all of them. And all of that is kind of the effort to build this youth army, if you will, to fight for our cause, fight for the principles we believe in. The big difference between us and all those other groups is we launched a program called Operation Win at the Door. And what this is we take all of these young students that are excited about the Constitution and they believe in freedom, not free stuff, and we actually endorse candidates throughout the country, and we'll send, let's say, 10 students in to one of these races. They'll knock doors for 30 days, knock about 30,000 doors, and they'll talk to the American voter, right? We're trying to mobilize voters, get them excited, and if a 19-year-old shows up at your door, you probably think they're there to canvass for Bernie, right? So when they're there talking about the candidate that we're supporting, lower taxes, free markets, it really motivates the voter to get out and actually show up to vote. So in 2018, we kind of launched this program as a pilot. We did 76 races, and we were able to win 37 of them. And we're trying to build a bench, something the left has done for many years that we'd like to see the conservative, more liberty-minded folks succeed at.
So, and just to be clear, you're doing this all at the state level?
Yeah, so we decided that we could have the biggest bang for our buck and the biggest impact at the state level. There's roughly 5,000 seats across the country at the state legislative level, state houses. And so we're aiming to win 250 of those races over the next 2 cycles, so by 2022. What that would mean is we'd have 5% of the country. And like I said, the left has been doing this for 30 years. They realized, how do you become viable for federal office? Well, you're elected at the local office. You've got name ID, the voters know who you are, you've got volunteers and supporters. And so if you can kind of do that, then all of a sudden you become viable for federal office. So we're spending a lot of time trying to get our students to mobilize, get young voices, get new individuals into the process, but get them some credibility. Because if you get elected to state house, guess what? You can force roll call votes, you can propose legislation that'll actually limit government, and you all of a sudden have this platform to develop as a thought leader for the movement.
So you guys are really taking a long view here. I don't think the youth of today is known for that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of people are very excited about the federal races, Senate, congressional. You look at statewide, like governor races, they're all sexy, right? Those are the big races. We're playing the long game. It's a strategy here that we think over the next 4 to 6 years we can get these 250 people elected. And then what happens? Those strong, principled, liberty-minded candidates, they're going to run for higher office. And so all of a sudden you're going to have great thinkers, messengers, and people that can represent our ideas. Let's say 150 of the 250 run for higher office. No offense to politicians, but politicians run for higher office. If out of those 150, we can get half of them in the Congress, you've now got a fifth of the entire congressional seats across the country that are people that believe in your principles. And I don't think it's that crazy to think we can pull it off.
So you started this about a year ago, is that right?
We did a pilot. In 2018 was our pilot year for Operation Win at the Door.
And how, do you have any candidates you want to tell us about, 1 or 2 that are, maybe a success story or the beginnings of a success story?
Yeah, so, the one thing we're always trying to figure out is how much impact can these students have at the door. And so the races that are nail biters, we can really analyze and see what the difference makers were. Bernie Sanders had a candidate in Vermont, incumbent, actually elected under the Progressive Party, not a Democrat, win as a progressive back in 2016.
Okay.
So in 2018, we put up a 23-year-old female named Felicia Loeffler in Vermont, State House. We sent our students in. We knocked tens of thousands of doors. Bernie did 4 events with this candidate. Bernie, the United States Senator, did 4 events with his State House candidate because it's his hand-picked candidate, this woman. And so we put up the 23-year-old. We ended up winning by 95 votes. Knocked out the only progressive elected in Vermont. So that was our first one that kind of showed we're going to do the work that the left isn't going to do. Right. The next one, there was a seat in Iowa. A guy named Jeff Shipley, he's a Yale alumnus, great guy, 28 years old. And they didn't even put up a Republican to run in his district because the Democrats had it as a safe Democrat seat and the Republicans had it marked as a safe Democrat seat. You couldn't touch it. We looked at the district and we said, you know, they're kind of sitting on their heels. We think we can reach these voters. We think if we get out there and we knock the doors, we can get this guy across the finish line. So we knocked roughly 23,000 doors. We didn't even get him on the ballot until September. We had to petition the local GOP.
Wow.
The GOP spent no money. They said, yeah, we'll let you get him on the ballot. He can't win. We're not going to spend a dime. And it went to a recount. It was so close. He ended up winning by 35 votes. And so that to us, there's just 2 quick stories to show that when you go out there and you actually pound the pavement, you talk to voters, you mobilize them, you can actually produce some wins.
How big is your organization? How many door pounders are there here, pavement pounders?
So this cycle, we had 309 students that did at least what we call a month-long deployment. That's we were about quality, not quantity. So 309 students that went out for at least a month, spend time in a district to help get somebody elected. We knocked over 1 million doors, just under 1.1 million.
Wait, 1 million doors, how many people?
309.
309 people, 1 million doors.
Yes.
That's some serious commitment.
And I'll tell you, the one thing we didn't count for, imagine you're a 20-year-old in college, you're doing a summer race, or maybe you're doing one during the general, you're in a room with 9 other people, the election results are coming in, and you win the race by a couple hundred votes.
And you realize you've changed the world.
Right, it doesn't take, billions and billions of dollars. At this level, you've now elected somebody, and like I said, they can propose bills, and they have a platform to message our ideas, and you're a ragtag crew of kids, and you're like, hey, we can make a difference here.
I think this is an extremely powerful message to, the incredible number of young people that are here at CPAC and also among our readers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to get people involved. It's an interesting process because even amongst conservatives and more liberty-minded folks, it's not easy. When you're asking people to knock doors, it is not something that's, hey, come hang out in an event.
Everyone is just rushing to do it. I gotcha.
And we put them up in an Airbnb, so they get to know each other, they make great friends. But it really goes to show the dedication of the activists. And people say, well, you're afraid the left's going to copycat your ideas? No, because we actually believe in a set of principles, and our students are passionate enough to get out there. We pay them a stipend, we pay for their housing, we make it so they're not losing money, but you got to really believe in the cause to spend a month on the ground trying to get somebody elected.
Well, that's our entire media is based on that concept, so I'll have you know. No, wonderful to have you here.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Appreciate it.